You're listening to A Radio.
Thank you for joining us. You're listening to A Radio, and this is the Morning Moment. I have decided today to suspend podcasts on A Radio. Not for the reason I thought I would have to, but it kind of makes sense to do so. Let me explain. In times such as this, where the only real thing that anyone is concerned about is not getting general news, is about the virus, and avoiding contact as much as possible to prevent the spread of this hideous attack on our people and our way of life and our very existence. It seems rather futile at the moment, arguing about free speech, whilst in the minds of most people, the most important thing is not free speech. That's for normal times, unfortunately. We all know that these are not normal times. Now, God willing, there will be time for recriminations if that's what's needed. And if it should be found that a country or countries are responsible for this worldwide attack on humanity, then we must all act as one and do what must be done. Not just condemn them, but take action to remove those responsible for this act against mankind itself. Doesn't that sound dramatic? But in reality, that's what it is. I believe, as many do, that this didn't happen by accident. As I've mentioned before, I've done a podcast on the real source of this virus. And briefly, the origins of this virus come from Saudi Arabia, and then the virus was passed on to a lab in Winnipeg, Manitoba, a level 4 lab for analysis. There were several Chinese scientists working in this lab. For what reason? We don't know. We're not allowed to know that information. But these people were removed from the lab in the middle of last year, and also the virus disappeared from that lab. These scientists came from Wuhan, China. Now, if you think that's a coincidence, well, I don't know what else to say. Even the illustrious CBC did a report on this, so it can't be fake news. Not in Canada, anyway. And I have no doubt that when the dust settles, there will be some people who choose to try and sweep these actions under the carpet, away from public view. However, if we are not to learn from history, then not only acts such as this will continue, but they may well be a precursor for what may be the ultimate final act. So I want to leave you with this thought and this comment, one that I know that many of you out there share with me. The epicenter of this attack on all of us is China. We must insist that a worldwide group of scientists and experts be brought in to ground zero, with zero restrictions placed on them by China, Chinese authorities, or any other country. We can demand nothing less. And when the real truth is revealed, which I believe will be the case, however hard Chinese authorities will try and hide the facts and the evidence in the meantime, which they will, because they are a communist country, which people seem to want to hide, that we, the world citizens, will demand the removal of all military activity by this country to be carried out. I don't think people realise how big a statement that is. But if we do not stamp out this clear threat to mankind, then we will have failed mankind. I, for one, believe China, if proven to be directly responsible, should pay the ultimate price. Now, I did indicate that my comments wouldn't be PC. They never are and never will be. No sanctions, no financial penalties could ever be enough. This could have been potentially bigger than the atrocities of Nazi Germany or even Stalin. And if we fail to act, if we fail to decapitate the head of that government and their ability to wage war at any level, anywhere, we are all quite literally leaving a ticking time bomb. I, for one, have never hidden my concerns for China's worldwide activities to undermine the stability of our world. What clearer example would we all need than this, if proven? There are too many reports of where that Chinese virus originated to honestly believe the Chinese explanation. And why should we, as a world community, have to guess? I want proof. I don't care whether it's in another country. You've infected my country. I demand the right to investigate your country. We must all act as one to ostracize these leaders of their government and their country. If we, as the world, find China is at fault, their deliberate hiding and inaction, at the very least, was inexcusable. I don't care they're in another country. I don't care they got a massive army. They will not act like this. We cannot tolerate this. We must not, and we will not accept their actions and approach to be an acceptable form of communication. When they seek to dominate throughout the world, we must not stand idly by and let business be as normal. So until, God willing, we are back to some sort of Canadian PC anti-white, anti-English, anti-free speech attack on our normal lives, it seems to me, at least, that anything else is trivial, except of course our demand for a government of national unity in Canada. This is not a time for secrets. This is not a time for recrimination in our own country. It's a time of unity, to work together. It's not a time of playing one province against another. It's a time for all Canadians to work together. A Radio will continue to comment where possible and where relevant on issues that we think concern all Canadians and beyond. Our website will still be active, and have no doubt there will be things that will concern us all. But for right now, we all need to stay calm and do our own thing. Look after ourselves, our friends and our neighbours. I will, however, put a very large sting on this for my Canadian listeners. You really won't be able to defend yourselves, if needed, thanks to decades of Liberals and Conservatives piling on regulation after regulation against Canadians having the right to defend themselves. So those of you who live in our larger cities, remain calm and definitely stay indoors, because despite the government attempts to disarm you over the decades, there are many Canadians out there that, shall we say, are not. And as our police force in Canada is so woefully small, they can't possibly be expected to keep us all safe in all parts of the country. And if you're like me and live a little off the beaten track, you can't even defend yourself from wild animals, even though there are many. So keep safe and keep listening for updates, which there will be. We will get over this, and I think we'll be better for it. But what a price to pay. Oh, and Donald Trump was right, wasn't he? To ban flights from China, unlike our country.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to address Canadians at 1 p.m. Eastern Time today. He will make an announcement about Canada's airports. Joining me now with details, CTV's Michelle Boyer.
That's right. We've learned that the Prime Minister is going to announce that some, and I do want to emphasize the word some, international flights will be redirected to 4 major hubs in this country. We're talking about the airports in Vancouver, in Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal. This is happening because these large airports have the capacity to properly screen international travelers for COVID-19. A lot of question marks, though, still remain about why not all international flights and also how this screening is going to move forward. There's been a lot of talk about people arriving from overseas and a little bit of confusion, maybe the messaging not getting out quickly enough. But now when you go through customs and you do answer questions on the terminal, the customs terminal that you walk up to, scan your passport, your iris scan, for example, there are new questions that are asking if you have a cough, if you have a fever, if you have difficulty breathing, and also asking you to acknowledge that since you are coming in from overseas, from outside of Canada, that you are isolating yourself, self-isolating yourself for 14 days. We did hear from the Prime Minister yesterday. I want you to take a look at what he had to say.
We are considering everything. There is nothing we have taken off the table. We're in close discussion with public health experts to look at what is the best way to keep Canadians safe. And every step of the way we have and we will do the things necessary to keep Canadians safe.